Welcome back, everybody, to the first part of hopefully many Blu-ray update videos. So yeah, I quite often do buy plenty of Blu-rays, although might not be the most consistently on schedule videos. It's unlikely that we're going to be getting 2 or 3 of these done a week or whatever, but yeah, certainly will be at least once a month. But I have bought plenty in the last few weeks or so. There are a couple more that are on their way in the post, so I'll leave them for another video, as they are quite big box sets, so they will take a while to go through them on their own. But as it is, yeah, I have bought a fair few films, so we're going to go through some of the more ordinary standard Blu-rays, and then we'll look at some of the box sets and more special ones that I have. So yeah, firstly, I bought 99 Homes, starring the great Andrew Garfield, Michael Shannon and Laura Dern. And yeah, it's a really rather politically charged film set around the financial crisis of 2008, and yeah, really good, and does show that money is not all the root, is kind of the root of all evil, and yeah, it does show that greed really is not, a good thing in any capacity or whatsoever. Secondly, one of my favourite disaster films ever made, and certainly one of my favourites from the 90s, Dante's Peak, starring the great Pierce Brosnan and Linda Hamilton. I prefer this to the same year Volcano, starring Tommy Lee Jones, as the special effects are far better on this. I prefer the characters, and there's less dumb decisions that are made, although it still does have some cliches going for it. But yeah, really spectacular disaster film this is, about a volcano that explodes and pretty much annihilates a town in more ways than one. And yeah, fantastic effects on this, principally because they rely on practical more than special effects, so they haven't really aged, despite the fact that this film is now nearly 25 years old. So yeah, spectacular film, and it looks glorious on Blu-ray, and yeah, makes excellent use of my new soundbar that I have bought. Another film that makes excellent use of my new soundbar is a superb 90s film, Face Off, again from 1997, like Dante's Peak, but yeah, a lot more violent, a lot more action orientated than Dante's Peak is, and yeah, John Travolta and Nicolas Cage are superb in their roles, which reverse as the film goes on. And yeah, not my favourite action film from the 90s, but definitely one that is great, and yeah, definitely my favourite American John Woo film, because he's done a lot of his own, native country films, but yeah, this is definitely my favourite from him that's set in America, or at least an American-produced film. Because he also did Broken Arrow with John Travolta, which is decent, but nowhere near as good as Face Off. And then he also did a film with Jean-Claude Van Damme, which is good, but again, nowhere near as good as Face Off. And then we go on to a comedy spoof, Young Frankenstein. So it's basically a spoof of the Frankenstein films from the 30s, but also other monster films from that decade. And yeah, got the great Gene Wilder in the lead role, and Marty Feldman as well as Igor. And yeah, directed by the superb director Mel Brooks. And yeah, this is hilarious from beginning to end. Looks gorgeous in the black and white, and yeah, just generally entertaining throughout. And yeah, I have yet to see more of Mel Brooks' films with Wilder, because I know he did The Producers and Blazing Saddles, which are also supposed to be really good, so I hope to see them at some point. Then we've got a pair of horror films. We've got The Conjuring and The Conjuring 2. So yeah, I adore these films. I know they're not the best horror films ever made or anything like that, but as far as modern horror films go, I really do enjoy these, and they're certainly the best films from the Conjuring universe, because the first Annabelle was awful, the second and third one was pretty decent, The Nun was rubbish, and The Curse of La Llorona was rubbish as well. So yeah, not been the most consistent of films, but yeah, the main films are the best for sure. But I am a bit ambivalent about whether or not the new one is going to be any good, because it's also directed by the guy that did The Curse of La Llorona. So yeah, not confident the third one's going to be the best, but hopefully with the characters and the cast that I really enjoy, that they'll hopefully make up for it. And then we've got 1,000,000 Years BC, visual special effects by Ray Harryhausen. Not my favourite film from him, or film that has him involved with the special effects. But yeah, still a solid film with those dinosaur effects nonetheless, with some really rather good fights in between. But yeah, the rest of the film is a little bit dated, and yeah, the lack of actual dialogue, because it's all set in the prehistoric times with people that don't speak English it's a little bit of a drag in areas, but still a solid film purely because of those special effects, which are really, really rather good. And then we've got a few films from Indicator, a couple of which I have yet to see, but I've bought purely on the basis of their reputation and who is in it. And yeah, first of those is Dragonwyck, which has the great Vincent Price in it. And yeah, couldn't really pass up a Vincent Price film since I have so many of his films already. And it's also directed by Joseph L. Mankiewicz, who has done another film, I can't remember which one he did, that I really enjoyed. But yeah, I know he's directed something I've enjoyed before. And yeah, Gene Tierney has been in a lot of good stuff as well. So I look forward to watching that eventually, but I haven't got round to it. Another film I've yet to get round to is The Collector from 1965. Yeah, starring the great Terence Stamp, who has been in many good films that I really enjoy. And yeah, this is again supposed to be a cracking film, so yeah, can't wait to eventually get around to it. There's a tagline on the back: "You won't dare open your mouth, but you'll be screaming for her to escape." So yeah, really like that tagline. But one of the 3 film indicators that I have watched is the superb The Big Heat by Fritz Lang, who I've seen several other film noirs from already, and yeah, this is quite frankly his best that I've seen so far. From 1953, so later period film noir, but still a cracking film, and it's got Glenn Ford in it as well, who once again puts in a cracking performance, and you got an early role from Lee Marvin as well. So yeah, superb film noir. It's one of the few films from this year that I have actually given 5 stars, and yeah, highly recommend it, especially if you're a Fritz Lang fan and you've not seen any that film from him so at the moment. Then we have a box set, the first of hopefully many in this universe, and it's a Cinematic Universe Phase 1 for Marvel films. So yeah, these are only on Blu-ray. I didn't get the 4K because firstly, I think with these ones you have to buy them separately, which would be too much. And yeah, this collection, even on Blu-ray, is still fantastic, especially since it's got a few of the films that are really rather good. So you got Iron Man, which is solid, Incredible Hulk, which is a little weak, Iron Man 2, which is decent, 4, which is solid, Captain America, the First Avenger, which is also solid, and then Avengers Assemble, which is the best of the lot. So yeah, still a cracking collection, and it opens up really nicely as well, like that. And yeah, you get all of the films in a like this. So they're all individual discs, which is good to see. They're not been, crammed on a disc a piece. So yeah, there they are. And yeah, you also get several art cards for each of the films, as well as a poster of each of the films as well, which are really nice as well. So yeah, this is just the basic kind of poster. We don't know which one this is for. So it's for Iron Man. So yeah, they're not massive posters or anything. They're only about A5 size, I think they are. But yeah, they're still decent sized. And yeah, but the art cards are where this collection really excels, because they're in an Art Deco kind of style, which make them look superb. As you can see, there's Iron Man, and there's Incredible Hulk, Iron Man 2, 4, I like the 4 one a lot, to be honest. Then Captain America, First Avenger, and finally Avengers Assemble, which is also really nice. So yeah, I really like that Art Deco style that they've got going for them. And yeah, it's all really nicely boxed. And like I said, you get a poster for each of the films as well. So even if you're not a fan of all of the films, you should at least have at least one film there that you get a poster for and an art card for as well. And yeah, even though they're not going to be the best quality, because they're not the 4K versions, quite frankly, I think it's the best value for money, because they're not, you're having to buy them all individually, which would be quite an expensive thing. And to be honest, modern films like that, which rely on a lot on CGI and special effects and all that lot, really don't massively need a 4K transfer, especially since the Blu-rays aren't exactly that old either. And finally, we have a steelbook for my actual favourite film from the 90s in terms of action films. Beats Face Off by quite a mile, even though I love that film, and it is Speed. And look at that steelbook, it is absolutely glorious. Love the colours that are going on there. You've got Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock on the front. You've got the speedometer there, because if it hits 55 mile an hour, the bomb will be armed, and if it drops below 55 mile an hour, the bomb will explode. And then it's even showed on the disc there as well, which is 4K and Blu-ray involved. And yeah, love the disc as well. And yeah, it's also got a scene from the film on the rear where it goes under the bus. And yeah, an absolutely superb Steelbook, to be honest. I've seen a lot of people complain about the look of it, but I adore it because it's got the like oranges of like, you know, LA where it's set. Then it's got the really nice blues and greys that are on the bottom there. So yeah, really nicely balanced out in terms of colour, and yeah, conveys the action in the film as well really nicely. So yeah, I've yet to see it on this 4K version, but I imagine it will be great, especially since I now have a new soundbar, which will take massive advantage of it. So yeah, there we go. Not a massive amount of new films added to my collection, but a decent amount, and yeah, pretty much love all of them. Obviously, there's a couple there that I have yet to see, but I imagine I'll love them anyway. And yeah, we'll most likely have another one of these up on Monday, because I have a few box sets from Indicator to arrive. Should hopefully arrive on Saturday. But yeah, nonetheless, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.